So you're new to Genshin and you do a 10 pull on the current banner, and while you don't get a 5-star, you do get 4-star Yao Yao. Now what do you get with Yao Yao besides Madame Ping's youngest disciple? Well, Yao Yao is a polearm wielding Dendro user whose burst can create a lot of blooms and heal your entire party. So through a crazy random stream of events, I decided that I was going to make videos that hopefully anybody can understand on Genshin content. So if you do learn something from this video, do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. With that being said, let's get into this video. So just like we do in every single video, we're going to look at the current build of the current character that we're using in the current video, and I'm going to try and say current one more time. So my Yao Yao is level 80 out of 80 with around 14,000 HP. 592 attack, and 472 elemental mastery. I'm currently building this Yao Yao out to go onto a Nilou Bountiful core team. That is why she has a higher elemental mastery. Crit split, 5 over 56, not a lot there. Energy recharge, 110. Honestly, I could get that up a little bit, but that's still not too bad. For a weapon, I do have a 4-star level 50 Dragon's Bane on her for the elemental mastery. For artifacts, I am running 2-piece Gilded, 2-piece Wanderer's Troop. I'm going to try to get more elemental mastery on her. C4, which the constellations won't matter too much in this video. So with that being said, let's go look at her normal attacks, her skill, and her burst. Before we go into the domain, do you see this little rabbit in the basket behind Yao Yao? This is Yugui. And her skill and her burst summon Yugui. Now you notice Yugui is healing Yao Yao. That is because there are no enemies around, so they will heal her to full. Once she is at full HP, or whatever character you have on the field, so they will throw out these radishes. If you touch the radish, that is how you get the Dendro damage bonus or more healing for your other characters, things like that. They will explode after 5 seconds. I wanted to talk about that before we go into the domain because it'll be harder to show inside of the domain. In the domain, there's going to be a lot of white jade radishes going around, so I just wanted to explain it outside of the domain and show that they heal, or they will throw them at random if there are no enemies around and you are full health. Okay, so let's do her normal attacks first. She's going to have a pretty standard normal attack with a polearm. I think it's a 5 hit. And then her charge attack is going to be a standard for a polearm, where she is going to turn into a little corkscrew and go at the enemy, hitting multiples if they're lined up. So now we're going to look at her skill, and her skill has a tap and a hold. I used the tap version outside. This is going to be the hold version, where you can throw it towards a group of enemies. If there are enemies around, once you get to 70% HP, it will then start attacking the enemies. If you drop below 70% HP, it will then try to heal you again. If the white jade radish hits an enemy, it will do an instance of Dendro damage, as well as applying the enemy with Dendro. So now we're going to look at her burst, and her burst only lasts for 5 seconds. But during those 5 seconds, she can make an insane amount of blooms or Dendro reactions, as well as heal your whole team. So she is going to throw out a different version of Yugui. This is going to be called the jumping version of Yugui. Not only that, but whenever she herself jumps or sprints, she will throw out a white radish on her own. So if you just sprint around or jump with Yao Yao, you're going to have so much Dendro going around. Something else is that not only does her burst heal Yao Yao, it heals your whole team. So we let our team take damage, and as you can see over here on the side, every single white radish that explodes near Yao Yao, which is going to be a lot of them, is going to heal your entire team. Any team member nearby, including in co-op, if you have 4 people near these radishes, then they are all going to be healed. So real quick, I want to show how many blooms you can make with Yao Yao's burst. You see there's a lot of blooms out here that are just going to be being created just between using Barbara's skill and Yao Yao's burst. Again, I told you, it only lasts for 5 seconds, but you can do a lot during those 5 seconds. You can also throw out your regular Yugui with your skill during the burst, so there's 4 out there. Now, the one that you throw out during your skill is not going to be the jumping Yugui, it's going to be the throwing Yugui. So it's going to last longer, and it's not going to disappear at the end of her burst. So now we're going to look at a beginner artifact set. For a beginner artifact set, 4-piece instructor is going to be very, very good on Yao Yao. Now, you cannot really, there are no good ways to raise HP with 3 or 4-star artifact sets. So doing a 4-piece instructor set is going to be really, really good because it will get up her elemental mastery as well as the elemental mastery of your entire team. And Dendro reactions rely a lot on elemental mastery. You can do like a 2-piece and a 2-piece exile, but really just going 4 pieces is going to be the best way to go. So for the main stats, you have a couple of options. If you're wanting to do like bloom or damage Yao Yao, then you can just do elemental mastery across the board, especially in a bloom team. If you're wanting to do more of a healing, then you can do HP across the board. If you're wanting to do a hybrid, then just doing HP and elemental mastery can be very, very good. So you do have a lot of different options whenever it comes to Yao Yao. For a beginner weapon, you do have 3-star Black Tassel, which gets up your HP. Now, the passive isn't that good, but it does get up your HP a lot. If you are an Inazuma and you have the Inazuma craftable weapons, you can get access to the Kitayin Cross Spear, which gets up your elemental mastery, as well as with its passive, giving you a little bit of energy recharge because Yao Yao's burst is very, very good during that 5 seconds. If you have the craftable Fontaine weapons, then you have Rightful Reward, which does get up your HP percent, not as much as Black Tassel, but the passive is much, much more usable, where it does give you, again, some energy recharge. So this can be another really, really good weapon for Yao Yao, especially if you want healer Yao Yao, then Rightful Reward is going to be very, very good. So for a beginner-friendly party, and this is going to assume that you have Yao Yao plus the free characters that the game gives you. Now, during this, I am going to do something different and talk about some substitutes for these other characters. So, of course, we're going to start with Yao Yao. Then we're going to have Kale. Now, you can do Dendro Traveler. You can really do any kind of Dendro character, whether it's off-field or off-field, like Alhaitham or Kaveh or even Nahida. Next is going to be Lisa. This team is going to be a quick bloom team, so we're going to be doing quicken and aggravate as well as some blooms. So we need our electro character to trigger those hyper blooms as well as the aggravate. We are going to use Lisa. You can use other characters like Fischl, Kaching, Beto. You can use a lot of different characters for this electro slot. Last, we're going to have Barbara, which would be our Hydro character for creating those blooms. You could use any other Hydro character, kind of. Coco is going to be really good, especially if you needed an on-field Hydro driver and you had like Kuki Shinobu instead of Lisa, or Fischl, or somebody like that, and you wanted an on-field Hydro driver. Hell, you could even use Child if you really, really wanted to, and then during the time that you are using Child, it is going to be very much a Hyper Bloom team, and then while you're waiting on Child's cooldown, it would be a Quick Bloom team. Now, the way that this is going to work is that you are going to be dropping Yugoi, having Yugoi out as much as possible, going to be using Kale's skill and burst to just keep Dendro flowing, giving some energy over to Yao Yao. Then you're going to be using Lisa as your main Electro. You are going to have her on the field, but when her burst is ready, you can use her burst, go to Yao Yao, and use Yao Yao's burst. So that way you have off-field Electro and on-field Dendro. That can be very, very good, as well as healing your whole party. Then what you can do is you can have Barbara with her skill around your on-field character, giving a little bit of healing as if Yao Yao didn't do enough of that, but also allowing for some blooms to be created, so that way Lisa, when she's on the field, she can trigger the hyper blooms with her charged attacks. So this rotation would be going between your Dendro and your Electro character, going over to Barbara and using her skill whenever it was available, going back, Dendro and Electro, getting some of those blooms, getting quickened, getting aggravate, getting spread. That is how you would do this whole team. Now, Dendro reactions, in my opinion, are not beginner friendly. However, you can do them without too much difficulty, especially in a team like this. It's not optimal, but you could definitely do it. That is going to be it for this beginner guide. If you learned something, do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.